Welcome to the fourth in our series of presentations coming to you from the Connell Mansion Museum of the Historical Society of the Cocalico Valley. Here in a third-floor bedroom of the Connell Mansion are housed memorabilia from the Mountain Springs Resort, once located in Ephrata. This room well represents what a guest at the resort would have found available when lodging at the resort. While the Connell family resided in this house, this room served a very different purpose. We're going to talk about that later on in our presentation. On April 5th, 1858, in Earlville, now Brownstown, a son was born to Rebecca and Moore Connell. This baby, their firstborn, died shortly after birth. The infant remains unnamed. No formal record of his birth exists. In a note written by Rebecca's half-cousin informing relatives of the child's death, he is referred to as Willie. It's possible that this baby would have been named William after Rebecca's father, William Connamacher. The infant was buried in God's Acre at the Ephrata Cloister. Margarita, known as Margie, was born July 18th of 1859. The second child and first daughter of Moore and Rebecca was born in a 2.5-story brick farmhouse located in Ephrata Township, in an area then known as Arlingtonville. Its address today is 501 West Main Street, Ephrata. Margie was very involved in the Ephrata branch of the Lancaster General Hospital's Ladies Auxiliary. In later life, with her sisters, Margie purchased land in Council Bluff, Iowa, in 1914. Farmers in that area were experiencing great economic prosperity because they had become the major agricultural producers in the United States. Lutheran by faith, Margie died of a cerebral hemorrhage and heart disease on February 10, 1930. She was buried in God's Acre at the Ephrata Cloister in Ephrata. Few pictures of Margie exist. A second daughter arrived in 1860. Lily was born in the farmhouse on West Main Street, but unfortunately Lily died in 1862 and was buried next to her unnamed brother in God's Acre at the Ephrata Cloister. Only one picture of the third daughter born to Moore and Rebecca exists. Susan, born March 18, 1862, in the Arlingtonville farmhouse, is shown with her sisters, standing right. Susan was both mentally and physically challenged. Her condition remains undefined. She was kept at home under the care of her family. At times, Susan would become unmanageable, and then she would be locked in this third-floor bedroom until she could safely return to family activities, acceptable behavior restored. In the census of 1900, it was noted that Susan was able to read, write, and speak. Apparently unable to manage her own affairs, Susan's mother, Rebecca Connell, made special provision in her own will for Susan. Margie, Bella, and Nora, Susan's sisters, were named Susan's trustees upon Rebecca's death in 1908. Susan died on July 12, 1909. She too was buried in God's Acre at the Ephrata Cloister. Isabella, known as Bella, was born in Ephrata Township, also in the brick farmhouse on West Main Street, on December 4th, 1865. Bella was very interested in history and genealogy. This fourth daughter worked diligently to preserve the Ephrata region. On occasion, she would write to her half-cousin's uncle, then Pennsylvania's governor, Martin Grove Brumbaugh, about her concerns for the Cocalico Valley. In March 1930, Bella and her sister Nora offered the Connell Mansion for use as a community hospital. Both Bella and Nora were very concerned about community development. Nevertheless, their offer was declined. Aware that the mansion was too large for their needs, the sisters then offered part of the house to Dr. Arnold Swally in 1934. Dr. Swally then rented the first floor of the mansion until 1937. Both sisters had various outside real estate investments during their years together. Bella died of dropsy, a swelling of the body's soft tissue due to excess water detention, and heart disease, on January 3, 1938. Lutheran by faith, Bella was buried in God's Acre at the Ephrata Cloister. A fifth daughter was born to Moore and Rebecca Connell in the brick farmhouse on January 14, 1869. Abby became an accomplished pianist and taught piano lessons in the Connell Mansion using the Civil War era piano, which still stands in the first floor parlor. Abby was regarded as the prettiest of the Connell daughters. She was popular and friendly, and she maybe even have considered marriage. Unfortunately, she fell ill the day after returning from a trip to Newark, New Jersey. She complained that there had been too much heat in the train car in which she traveled. Just 4 months later, Abby died on March 11, 1904. It was assumed that pneumonia was the cause of death. Lutheran by faith, Abby also was buried in God's Acre at the Ephrata Cloister. The Moore and Rebecca Connell family moved to the newly constructed mansion at 249 West Main Street, Ephrata, shortly after Abby was born in 1869. The following year, 1870, another daughter was born in this new residence. Mary lived only a brief period of time, however, and died in 1871. She also was buried in God's Acre. Moore and Rebecca Connell's last child was born on February 5th, 1875. Like her older sisters, Nora was raised in the Lutheran faith. She was only 6 years old when her father, Moore Connell, died. Nora was very interested in history and genealogy, similarly to her sister Bella's interests. Nora attended the Ephrata Academy and the East Locust Street School. One of only 8 students in the first graduating class of Ephrata High School, Nora was the only Connell daughter to become a high school graduate. She was secretary of her class and played a piano solo and recited an oration entitled "Not for Ourselves Alone" during the graduation ceremony. Nora excelled at writing and composed countless compositions, prose and poetry, even writing a play entitled The Happiest Couple, which was performed publicly. With her sister Abby, she taught piano lessons in the mansion also. Nora was a member of the National Society of the Daughters of the American Revolution and a member of the National Geographic Society. Throughout her adult life, Nora purchased real estate and rented out properties, which she later sold for a profit. In 1940, she offered again the Connell Mansion for use as a community hospital. The offer was again declined. From 1941 until 1944, space in the Connell Mansion was rented and used as a funeral home. In 1945, the undertaker returned again, and he rented space in the Connell Mansion for his revived business until 1950. Thereafter, Nora rented mansion rooms to individual tenants. Throughout her life, she remained active in hospital projects, the Lutheran Church, and the Ephrata community, showing concern for her neighbors and orphans. By 1960, it was determined that Nora was no longer able to remain in the Connell family home. Incompetent, Nora was moved to Maple Farms Nursing Home in January of 1961. And there, less than a year later, on December 8, 1961, Nora died from heart disease and senility. She was buried alongside the rest of her family in God's Acre at the Ephrata Cloister, becoming the very last person to be allowed burial in that cemetery. Her pallbearers were all founding fathers of the Historical Society of the Cocalico Valley, plus her attorney, David R. Eby. Nora's will stipulated the sale of her real estate and made bequests to Ephrata's Holy Trinity Lutheran Church, its Church of the Brethren, the Ephrata Community Hospital, friends, neighbors, the library of Ephrata High School, and Quincy United Brethren Orphanage in Franklin County, Pennsylvania. These presentations have focused on the Connell Mansion in Ephrata, its owners, and the family who lived there. The Historical Society of the Cocalico Valley's inception, its acquisition of this property, and its present role as a vibrant living history organization, museum, and research library will be unfolded in our next presentation. The Historical Society is a nonprofit organization which depends upon contributions from the public, visitors, and members. No gift is ever too small or too large. Each donation is greatly appreciated and may be sent to the Society at 237-249 West Main Street, Ephrata, Pennsylvania, 17522, Post Office Box 193. Until next time, stay healthy and safe. I look forward to talking with you soon. Thank you.